Well, it's always been a psychological condition. It's always been known as being like a psychiatric condition. Like it's a mental health issue.
Right.
And now it's being accepted as a gender identity issue, where it was always just like a weird kink that people had. And now you're again, regardless of whether or not this person's a sex offender, a registered sex offender, repeated sex offender, you have to accept this.
Okay, so as you're gonna see here in their nonsense conversation back and forth, backed up by no facts at all, they're gonna keep calling it different things, a psychological illness if you're trans, and at the same time, a kink, a fetish, right? The only thing they don't call it is just what people actually are, right? And Rogan goes in that direction near the end, but it makes no sense because he already labeled them the other two things. So I want to give you another clip here that has Matt Walsh in it. Watch.
In general, like there are different categories of people who transition, and we kind of talk about them like they're all the same, but they're not. And you can kind of break it down by age. Like there's the very young children, a 5-year-old, and we hear that, oh, my 5-year-old is trans. That's 1,000% the parent just deciding they're going to do that to the child, because no child even knows what that is. So you have to suggest that to them. Then you have the adolescent girls, and Abigail Schreier's written about this in her great book. And that's the social contagion. They pick it up from society. But then there's the older men who are adults and decide one day that they're women. And for so many of them, this is a fetish.
Yeah, so everything is about trans folks is illegitimate. And so, of course, with Matt Walsh, almost everything you hear is a lie. He's like, oh, you've got these 5-year-olds that are saying they're trans. Really? Show me one. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. There's never been a news event about it. He's just pretending that they're doing that, okay? Later, he's gonna get busted on a massive lie in the middle of the show. It's gonna be awesome. We'll get to that in a second too. But guys, just to debunk what Joe Rogan said. Yes, in the old medical handbooks from a million years ago, they used to call being not only trans, but being gay as a mental illness. They would describe it that way. But in old medical textbooks, they also said Jews have larger heads or craniums or something, and that's why they were terrible, etc. You know why they fixed it? Because it was wrong. That's why they fixed it, and they haven't said that in decades and decades and decades. Because they actually did science and figured out what was real and not real. But these guys want to go backwards to more hatred.
I do have a pretty big head for the record, but that's not all Jews. It just happens to be my head.
Well, to be fair to Ben. To be fair to Ben. Okay, so I want to get to how he got busted in a second, but I want to let you guys weigh in on this so far.
Yeah, I think the thing about like this is whenever I hear about any of these people talking about the trans community or the LGBT community more broadly, it's just these people's definition or sense of masculinity is so fragile that if everybody else doesn't comport to exactly how they view the world, like in their worldview, it's apparently completely illegitimate. Like you would think that if these people who are purported like self-proclaimed alphas, right? Don't tread on me. These are the alphas. These guys, these are like the real guys. If they were in any way like comfortable or confident in their own skin or in who they are, they would just shut up about all this stuff. And like instead they have to like litigate how everybody in the whole world lives, and if it doesn't comport exactly to their specific worldview, then it's wrong, and they have to go on a podcast and talk about it all day long, you know?
Yeah, and that's exactly right, and that's what I've been saying from day one. Why do you guys care? Right. Like, what is it? Why are you so weirdly insecure? I mean, there's not a lot of trans folks in the country to begin with, but like, right? They think it's like the world's biggest issue, and in a sense, it is a huge issue for them, and that makes you go, why is it that big a deal for you? Because it isn't really that big a deal for anyone else. And they betray themselves all the time. You remember when Alex Jones showed his phone to make a point and trans porn came up? And he's like, oh yeah, that happens to everybody. No, it doesn't, Alex.
Who is that one guy who was it like, I can't remember which guy it was. I mean, we've all seen this picture where someone was like, this is what they're advertising on Military Times right now. And it was a targeted ad about gay cruises. I can't remember who it was, but I know that people watching have seen this picture over and over again. It's like, yeah, man, the way targeted ads work is they're not the same for everybody. It's based on your search criteria.
Yes. And I have a Rebel HQ video dropping this weekend about gender and how these, like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, also talking about the feminization of men and how it's destroying men. And then I take you through news articles over the last 150 years with the exact same headline. Men are becoming too feminized. Men are losing their masculinity. What are we gonna do? Society's ruined. This is always a headline, and it's always fear-mongering around this, and it's just because the actual fact is just that gender, for a lot of people, not a huge amount of the country, but even for straight people, even for people whose gender identity matches their biological sex, there's a spectrum. Gender is on a spectrum, and we just came up as a society in a very patriarchal world that didn't allow anybody to express anything than the heteronormative, straight male, heteronormative, straight female point of view and expression of self-identity. And so once society loosens up a little bit, people are free to say, I actually feel like I'm this. I actually feel like I identify more as that. And that's all there is to it. Relax.
Yeah, no, Ben, that's 100% right. No one thinks it isn't a spectrum. No one thinks it's binary. Okay, you're either gay, you're straight, you're this, you're that, right? So in a sense, we're all non-binary, which then, think about it, guys, that means even if they are predominantly heterosexual, they probably have some homosexual thoughts, Rogan, Matt Walsh, etc. But it freaks them out. Like, so they probably have those thoughts and they're like, oh no, I think I'm weak. No, you're not weak, you idiot, you're normal.
Right.
Okay.
But it is so true. Those are always the like bro-y dudes that, like, when I would hang out, I mean, I've known Rogan forever, he hasn't done this personally, but just like that crew, those are the guys that'll like flick you in the balls and be like, hey bro, what's up buddy? I just grabbed your nuts. Like, you just touched my penis? Like, I'm not saying he did that or any of his friends, but I'm saying just like bro-y tough dudes
100%.
are the guys who are always smacking you in the ass. And I've never touched a guy's penis voluntarily in my life, but they're the ones that are so afraid of, because why? What is it in them that's making them so uncomfortable?
Yeah, by the way, I played football. The football players love the ass.
Yes.
Like I'm like, all right, there's a shoulder. Okay, it's cool, whatever, but like you're obsessed. One guy who's too big, like guy pretending to be masculine and stuff on a basketball court. Yeah, he tapped me in the crotch. I'm like, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Okay? It's always that guy.
Not one of the moves.
It's always that guy. Brian.
I think honestly, it's going to go away. This issue from the right. It's what the right focuses on so much, and the reason is that they want to focus on like one or two instances and try to make them as if, extrapolate them as if they're some issue that's plaguing the entire country, and it's just to scare people, right? Like, it's just regular fear mongering so that voters will watch this and think, oh, if we elect Democrats, it's going to turn our kids into trans people. Like, it's going to, it's like we've heard this a million times, but I think what we've seen in this election and what we've seen for the last few elections is like the lunacy surrounding these culture wars and conspiracy theories is becoming less and less resonant with people who are actually showing up to vote. And it's gonna become even less resonant as young people continue to make up a bigger part of the voting population, because they see through all this shit. You're not gonna be able to tell like a 19-year-old that there are litter boxes in school bathrooms or that everyone is turning trans, because these people are in school and they're with young people all day long, so they know it's all bullshit. This is solely focused on scaring old people who don't know any better and who believe anything. But as the younger generation continues to move up, they're gonna see this, they're gonna see like how like oozing in bad faith this is, and they're gonna think that these people are clowns, and they're gonna abandon the party writ large just because these people are trying to win some desperate culture war by appealing to a shrinking faction of very gullible, very old people who make up the Republican base.
And that's exactly why you have Jesse Waters then right on the night of the election or the next night going on television and saying there was a huge number of young people that voted in this election. This is a very big problem for the Republican Party. Just saying it out loud.
100%. All right, listen, we got to give you more clips, including the ones I promised you. So we're fair. So there is a difference between Matt Walsh and Joe Rogan. And the fact check that Bus Walsh is the biggest difference, but here Rogan tries to temper what he's saying. Let's watch.
It's so handsmaid tale. It's so wild that people are just wholesale adopting this. And this is not to deny that there's people that are trans. I've met people that are trans. It exists in nature. I mean, you occasionally, guys will shoot a buck and they'll find out that it's actually a female with antlers. Nature's weird, right? I think nature does put people, make humans, for whatever reason, that really feel like they should have been born a female or should have been born a male. But that's not all of what's happening. And in our desire to be compassionate and to have care for these people and to love these people and respect these people, we're opening the door to all this chaos.
Wait, first of all, you don't sound that compassionate. So, second of all, what chaos? Like, let's say that someone is, like, at least Rogan has 2 categories. So Matt Walsh only has 1 category. We hate them, they're awful, they don't exist, they're making it up, they're mentally ill. Rogan's like, half of them are that and half of them are real. But the other half that you think aren't real, what chaos? Like what, so let's say that someone is not really, this is Rogan's mindset, not really trans, but pretending to be trans. How did that create chaos in my life? It's the same either way. What difference does it make? Oh no, we caught you, you're not really trans, you're pretending to be trans. And?
Right.
Right, like it's not true, it doesn't make sense, but it also doesn't matter. But I want to get to the better clip here because here comes Matt Walsh.
Wait, but before you play this, I just got to make one point. Of course, you got to leave it to Joe Rogan to only understand something and have compassion for trans people, understanding it through a hunting analogy of killing bucks in the wild. Then he gets it. Oh, something I killed could be trans. Then maybe it's like such a weird, dumb thing.
Okay, so Matt Walsh is going to make something up here, and then we're going to have a wonderfully humiliating situation. Let's watch.
How many people have had this done?
Depends on what. I don't think we have exact numbers, but it's, if we're talking about the drugs, it's, I mean, millions.
You're talking about hormone blockers? Yeah. Millions of kids have been on hormone blockers, really?
I'm sure someone's going to fact check me on that, but my guess is that we're into the millions now at this point. Yeah, that would be my guess.
It says over the last 5 years, there were at least 4,780 adolescents who started puberty blockers and had a prior gender dysphoria diagnosis.
It says it's kind of undercounted, but that
would be a big undercounting.
Less than 1,000 people a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess, hundreds of thousands at this, but I could be wrong.
Million sounds great.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
The Media Matters will have fun with that clip.
Yeah, we are gonna have fun with that clip. I could be wrong. Yeah, that's because you made it up. Hey,
I love how he's off by about 995,000. And so instead of just accepting reality, like accepting objective reality that there were just a few thousand, he deigns to allow that number to come down to hundreds of thousands. So like he's still off by hundreds of thousands because the number is still only 4,000. We have the number right there.
And I think the producer clarified that was over a number of years. So it's about 1,000 a year as opposed to millions. Okay, by the way, Matt Walsh very lies pathologically about the kids that are getting gender changing surgery. That number is actually 0, okay? If you're underage, you cannot get that surgery. So it's like, oh, they're doing it to all the kids, they're butchering the kids, right? And then the gender blocking things, that's happening to millions. It's to why? Because if he told you it's happening to 0 kids or 1,000 kids across a country of 330 million people, you might realize, wait, even if I care about this issue, doesn't that seem like a tiny, tiny issue? Why are we spending like 50% of our time talking about it?
And they make it not only a big issue, but a very dangerous issue. He goes and says that, and then people go and attack children's hospitals that they believe are performing these procedures on kids that they are not doing.
I mean, 100%. And it's super dangerous. We did that story before. Look, I'm not in the camp of your ideas are dangerous or your speech is dangerous. Because I didn't like it, right? I don't agree with your policy points, so it's dangerous. No, he's literally saying this particular hospital is butchering kids. Aren't you gonna do something about it? And then people do something about it. They call in bomb threats, they threaten the hospital.
That's inciting violence, that is not free speech. That is straight up dangerous.
Yeah, and so he's a despicable character. But you know, one funny thing about this though is that when he's on his own and he's making his nonsense videos and movies, he's tough guy. And he's like, oh, the trans people are the worst. They're electric people. He's on Rogan's show. He's like, could be true, could be false, because Rogan's calling him out on it, and he can't disagree with Rogan because that's a cardinal sin. So all of a sudden, the tough guy's like, oh yeah, maybe I was wrong. Interesting. Look at that. They never get called out. And even there, Rogan, who agrees with him like on 80% of the stuff, when he calls him out, he's like, you know why? Because he was lying. He was always lying. That's who Matt Walsh is. Oh, if Matt Walsh is talking, he's lying.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.